Okay, really quickly, the Universities of California campuses are restricted on many of our scholarship funds to US and California citizens specific, or California residents specifically. But there are some campuses that allocate merit to students. There are also some campuses that have endowments for students. So that is a campus by campus question. That is a good question to ask at the college fair tomorrow for those of us who will be tabling. But we allow students to enter information here. The application is the trigger for the campuses who have merit to ask students for additional support and services.
If a student is residing in India but has been born in the US, has a US passport, then what do you consider?
If the student has a US passport, they're under US citizenship, or they have dual citizenship, they can still be eligible for merit scholarships and or federal funds.
Okay, so as good as what?
Correct. And just because your student is here doesn't mean that they're not a US citizen. So, yeah.
If they are a US citizen, you consider them a resident or not? You consider them a resident?
Residency is a whole ball of worms. That is a whole session by itself. So I will not answer that question because the answer will be it depends. Yeah. Okay, really quickly, the personal insight questions are the same questions as last year. There are still 8 questions. Those 8 questions are available to your students. They can email themselves the questions. They can work offline. You can help your student remember that they're not an essay. Say it with me. It is not an essay. One more time. Thank you. What does that mean? No introduction. I don't care about conclusions. I don't care about style or structure. Should it be proofread? Should you check grammar? Yes. If I don't understand what the heck they're saying, it's not going to help. But I'm not grading it like an English teacher. I'm not an English teacher. Are you an English teacher? Mandy? No. Okay, just checking. Thank you, Saray. The student will pick 4 questions, and now very clearly the box is there when they click, I want to answer leadership, or I want to talk about my favorite talent. Then a box will pop up. 350 words is still the limit for the response. Again, 350 is the max. It is not the benchmark. So if they're done at 307 words, they're done. Have them move on. All right, so that's the University of California. We were told that you also wanted a comparison with some of our sister campuses. So David A., you're on.
So shift gears, shake everything out of your head, because it's very simple. We went over a restructure of our application 2 years ago. It was CSU Mentor application. The 23 campuses got together and decided to redo the application. It's called Cal State Apply. Last year was the first kind of introduction of the application. We noticed a lot of issues with international students trying to apply to the university. So collectively, the 23 campuses have to have consensus on changing the application. So all the international offices said, stop, whoa, this is too difficult for international students to do. So we stepped back and kind of looked at the system itself, how to apply, and then made it really, really simple. The Cal States do not require SATs or ACTs. It's not a part of our application process. If the student's taken them, we encourage them to submit them, but it's not part of what we review for the admission system, or admission decision. We do not ask them to go through each part of their coursework and put it out there. So it's very straightforward and simple. I don't have a clicker. Oh, yeah, I do. Is it? Okay. This one. That. There we go. So the student basically selects their application, indicates that they're an international student. They can select from one of the 23 campuses, and it moves them right into the application. At the bottom of, kind of hidden behind that little drop-down menu, is a list of the 23 campuses. You can actually click on that. It'll take you to their international page. You can review their application process and review all their programs individually, and kind of like check out the campus, the location, and things like that. The application, once you start the application, it has 4 quadrants. Basically, the first one, the personal information, has 7 sections. It's kind of like the UC application where they just indicate who they are, say their name, indicate their family, like if their parents graduated from university, and pretty much the same as the UC system. Section academic history. This is the part that the student just indicates their high school that they attended. If it's not listed in the drop-down menu, they can type in their high school. And I should back up really quick. In the personal information, they indicate their citizenship status. So once they indicate that they require a visa to attend the university, it actually kicks them out into the academic history. They list their high schools. Just the name of the high school. They don't have to list individual classes that they completed or anything like that. They can actually put in their grade point average, and if they mess up and they say, I'm a 3.8 GPA, and the reality is they're like a 3.2, we will change that on our end. They don't upload documents into this or anything. So they've just applied, indicated they need an F1 visa, indicate the name of their high school, and then the bottom two quadrants, the supporting information is actually for our graduate students. It doesn't affect our international undergraduate population. And the program materials just indicates the programs that they applied to, the campuses that they applied to as well. So not as complicated as UC application. It wasn't the UC application that I did in '95 at all, but it's really straightforward. We process a lot of applications. We're one of the top 8 most applied to universities, not as high as UCLA, our friends here, but we really just want them to apply, indicate that they're a student, like an F1 student, say the name of the high schools that they attended, indicate their IB, indicate their AP results, things like that, then pay the application fee. It just went up from $55 to $70 on this application. After they've applied to the university, that's when we're going to request sealed high school transcripts from every high school they attended. So if they've attended 2 high schools and your transcripts from your high school has that previous high school's work, we're not going to accept it. We'll accept your high school only. So the student has to get sealed, attested copies of everything that they've completed, send that to us, report their SATs and ACTs, and send that to us. Once we get all of that information, we will clear up their application for them. We will update their GPA, we will update their SAT results, we will update their high schools if necessary. So we do the cleanup on our end. We're not asking the student to own what they're putting on the application. So it's really straightforward. So big difference, but we're, it's a Cal State application. It's really easy for an international student. So questions for me? Yes.
So the GPA, if they're studying in an international curriculum, what should they convert it?
No, they can actually leave it blank. They can actually put GPA. They can actually put percentage, like type out the word percentage. We're not asking them to do like a calculation on their own. They can submit whatever they want. Like I said, if they put in a 3.8 and once we review their documents, it's actually a 3.2, then we don't hold them at fault. We're not asking them to calculate their percentage or GPA into something that it's honestly difficult. So we just do it ourselves once we get their documents. We individually do it. Yes?
Do you need a school profile as well then to understand
No.
the difference in grading?
No, so that's another great thing about the Cal State system is we're not going to ask them for any kind of entrance essay, letters of recommendation, extracurriculars, school profiles, anything like that. We are strictly about academics. So we're going to look at 3 years as opposed to 2. We look at 9th through 11th. If we have an issue, if we think that the student is below what we require for admission, we will wait for the first semester of grade 12 to complete, ask for those mark sheets, and then make an admission decision based off that. Yes?
I have a large intake in grade 11 from various other schools. About 300 kids coming from different schools.
Mhm.
And so this whole transcript is a nightmare for me personally. I do a 9, 10, 11, 12, which is consolidated.
Yes.
I write on top whether you switch schools, when they joined my schools.
Mhm.
And I get them to give me an official transcript, which I then stamp and sign that I've seen it, notarized it, and seal it in number.
No.
That will work.
Yeah, I don't think any of the universities would accept that. No, we need individual sealed transcripts from every high school that they attended. I understand that it might be difficult for the student to get, but for every student around the world, if they did 2 years in Singapore, 2 years in India, or something like that, we're going to ask for those individual mark sheets. If they don't come with an English translation of those documents, we will ask for that as well.
I would just say that for us, that all happens after they're admitted, that we need to see it. So it's self-report grades. So as long as the grades match the eventual sealed documents that come to us,
But by when do you need the sealed documents from various high schools?
As soon as they can get them to us, the faster it is for us. Our application,
Last day.
the last day?
So for
Yeah.
CSUs, it's while they're in the application process?
Yes, yes. So our applications open October 1, and for each campus, they all are independent. So we share, just like you saw in the UCs, they have like kind of different yes or no answers. It's the same for the 23 Cal States. We have different processes in different application time periods. So for San Diego State, because we want more international students on our campus, our application period is quite long. they can apply from October 1 all the way to April 1 and still get admitted for August. So if they apply October 1, I would encourage them to submit as quickly as possible. And we make our first admission decisions in December. Yes?
So I'm just trying to repeat, what you said is the high school transcript is suppose my school provides IT, CSE till the 10th grade,
Mhm.
and then we convert to IB for the 11th and 12th.
Mhm.
We would provide a separate transcript for the 9th, a series, another one for the 10th.
No, no, no. If it's all one high school, if it's one high school that they attended, I will take one transcript consolidated like that. The IB, we're not going to ask for the IB diplomas, IB certificates, or anything like that. We want transcripts. So if the students completed a higher level IB, they can submit those to us, and we will review them for college credit after they've been admitted to the university. Yes?
For the UCs, because they're
Cuca.
also self-reporting 7th and 8th grade, then are we expected to add those to the transcript, or the transcripts will 9 to 12?
No, for the University of California campuses, we don't expect the 7th and 8th grade middle school curriculum on a transcript. We expect 9, 10, 11, and 12. And as stated, for the change here is CSU will look at the transcript as the evaluation process. We look at the application, which has all the transcript information, and we only want the mark sheet if a student has been admitted and also is enrolling on our campus. So I don't want 93,000 freshman transcripts.
We do.
They do.
I said I don't, but my university
Yeah.
does.
All I want are the 5,000 new students who I will have, California International Domestic. Those transcripts and documents I want. That's it.
And for Cal State, we include predicted in the
No,
transcripts long as-
no, we won't accept. Everything has to be complete, marked, and complete.
So predicted is not something the state schools are asking for. All right. Yes, Bridget.
For Cal State, sorry if
Yep.
I missed it, you
Where are
don't
you? Oh, there you
want
are.
the SAT or ACT, but English language proficiency?
Is a requirement. So it's not that we don't want them, it's not part of the request for the application. So if the student has taken the SAT or ACT, we encourage them to submit it. We can use that to clear English proficiency. We can use higher level IB English as well to clear English proficiency. If the student's admitted to the university, the SAT or ACT will also be reviewed as part of kind of like incoming math placement and English placement as well. So we do use it, it's not a requirement.
All right, and are you accepting Duolingo?
No, we're not. Currently, we're not.
So what do you expect? So no Duolingo,
IELTS,
but you will
IELTS,
take.
TOEFL, ACT, SAT, a higher level IB. That's pretty much the extent.
Good.
Yes.
Will either system waive English proficiency for students who are graduating from an American curriculum school?
So English language proficiency. The University of California expects a TOEFL or an IELTS when English is not the language of instruction for 3 years at least at a high school level. So your students in whatever school you're at, is it here, is it wherever you are, is your language of instruction English? Then we don't ask for a TOEFL or an IELTS.
We do. We need English proficiency.
Even if they're graduating from a school that's accredited in the U.S.?
If it's U.S. accredited, it's different.
Okay,
U.S. accreditation changes everything for us.
okay.
I would just add
But-
that they should-
Sorry, go
Come
ahead.
forth.
I would just add to that there are certain countries that we're not entirely sure that the school is actually completely taught in English. So you might want to ask if you're a school about whether or not your students should have a language proficiency.
If technically it says language of instruction is English, we will take it, but we have had some high schools where the language that the student comes in with is often questionable. I'm not saying it's any of you. Just putting that out there. But note that that student does struggle. So we do encourage our students, and we do have an English language exam that students have to complete. In California, it's called the Analytical Writing Placement Exam. So if a student hasn't verified that, they will take that when they start, and then we place them into an English class. The international students often take it when they first arrive on campus during our weeks of welcome or whatever we call them on campus. So eventually they'll take a test. Yes.
I'll add really quickly, we have a lot of students that apply to San Diego State University from the Middle East, a lot of U.S. accredited high schools in the Middle East, and those students, for the life of them, they cannot pass an IELTS with a 6.5. So again, it's going back to, like it's a U.S. accredited institution, but what is their level of English? What is their level of English instruction? So we're not going to, at least for the Cal States, we're not going to automatically waive it based on that.
Questions? Are we almost done? What time is it?
We've got a few more minutes, but we do want to point out there are a few resources that are very, very important for us. The Counselor Resource Guide, the quick reference for the University of California, has every question, almost every question you can find. Will this math help? Will this English language proficiency help? It has all of that there for you with links. And also the last 6 pages are a listing of all of our programs. So our majors this year. We always have new programs, right? All of a sudden, Nordic Studies showed up at UCLA, and you wanted to know that. It's there in the brochure. All of a sudden, we have statistics and data science. It's there in the brochure. So that listing gets updated every August. That link is the new link, or just Google quick reference University of California. And then for CSU?
We unfortunately don't do the best job of addressing international counselors. So most of this is really tailored toward California high school counselors and out-of-state high school counselors. I would encourage you, if you have a question about something international on a specific campus, just reach out to us directly. I'm hoping that this changes, but I have no control over any of this because the 23 campuses have to have consensus on everything, dotting an I, crossing a T. So it gets complicated. So, but reach out to the campuses individually, and we'll answer your questions.
Yeah, and I would say, feel free to reach out to. You can come up and there's our information, but you can also come up and get a card. And we are more than happy to connect you with our colleagues across the system. So please don't be shy about sending us emails.
One last question before we end. Going once, going twice. We hope that you'll see us tomorrow at the college fair and ask us that individualized question, pick up our cards. While not all of the 9 undergraduate campuses are here, we're happy to connect you with a representative for our sister campus who might be missing, or sister campuses. At the end of the day, we are physically here because we want your students.
Absolutely.
And we want them to fill out a complete, accurate application. So if your student or you are stuck on any part of the application, call, email us, we can FaceTime, we can Zoom, and we can walk you through it.
So we have UCLA, Riverside, and San Diego is here, and we'll ask them to come up front, and then we can all mingle up here.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us on our session.